Hey guys, in case you hadn't heard, ALG Defense and Geisley announced a new rifle called the El Jefe. I took a quick look at it just long enough to know I didn't want to buy it or review it, but literally 2 people messaged me asking me if I would take a closer look at it and share my thoughts. So we're just going to take a look at the ALG Defense El Jefe rifle. Obviously, I'm a bit of a ALG Defense fan. I've said a lot of nice things about their handguards. I was really bummed when they got discontinued, but I have, I think, 3 or 4 currently in rotation, so it's not like I need any more. ALG Defense is Amy Lynn Geisley's company. Amy Lynn Geisley is the wife of Bill Geisley, so ALG and Geisley shared a lot of parts. You know, there's a lot of like ALG stuff in Geisley rifles and vice versa. But ALG sort of stopped existing as its own company, more or less. A lot of their discrete products sort of disappeared, and all that they really kept making was their AK triggers and their the ACT trigger, which is like a polished mil-spec thing. Except, as I think we'll probably get into later, they don't make the ACT. That's made for them by Schmid, same company that makes the BCM PNT and probably almost all of the polished mil-spec style triggers on the market. So really what ALG made was their handguards, the V series, V0, V1, V2, V3, and then they replaced those with the X series. And now they've released a new rifle called the El Jefe, which looks like they're trying to position this as sort of the budget entry-level rifle. Geisley rifles, the Super Duty series, quite expensive, but ALG products were always very reasonably priced. It's one of the things that I liked about them. The quality level was super high, the design was great, and they were reasonably priced. And also, because it was run by Amy Lynn Geisley, there was a bit of that woman power going on. They made stuff in purple anodization, which if you're going to get colored anodizing, it should probably just be purple, let's be honest. So the El Jefe is a 16-inch rifle. Looks like they're trying to sort of price this thing in the entry-level plus category, so just over $1,000. $1,000 is kind of the reasonable cutoff for entry-level. I know that just the market is kind of getting away from itself, even though you can buy a complete rifle kit from PSA or AndroCorp or maybe even some Expo Arms stuff on Primary Arms website, you can get yourself an entire AR for less than $400 if you wait for a sale. The baseline of what's considered acceptable has gone all the way up to like BCM. Not sure how that happened, if it's because BCM took some hits, some bad publicity around BCM. All of a sudden, BCM cost $1,000 for a rifle, but people are worried if they can trust BCM. So they're like, well, shoot, if I can't trust BCM, could I trust something cheaper? I can't really explain it. Anyway, $1,200 for this rifle, and if you just look at that price tag and that picture of that rifle, you're going to be like, yep, that's a terrible deal. I would never buy that. And that's about as far as I got originally. But there is a little bit more to it than that. They've decided to go ahead and package this thing with a Warner and Swasey red dot, which is Warner and Swasey is not a real company anymore. It dates back to like sniper scopes in World War I. So somehow they acquired the name Warner and Swasey, decided to make their own red dot. There's a great review that Brassfax did of it. It's a Swamp Fox Kraken. It's literally a Swamp Fox Kraken with a little bit of extra machine work, so it's got some backup iron sight. So they're giving you a free red dot, but it's not a good one. The other thing that they mentioned is that they're giving you a free M4 USGI sling, a $4.99 value, yours absolutely free. The ALG Defense El Jefe is designed for a shooter looking for a mil-spec class rifle at a solid price point. El Jefe is a complete rifle system with an included sling and a Warner and Swasey red dot. Okay. Mil-spec class. Mil-spec's a fun term because it can make a lot of people upset. A quality rifle starts with a quality receiver set. El Jefe's upper and lower start with domestically sourced 7075 aluminum billets. The billets are heated to near 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, then hammered with an 1,100-ton forge press into the rough outside shape of the upper or lower. It sounds like they're trying to trick you into thinking it's billet by like mentioning that, yes, it uses billets of aluminum because that's the way the material is delivered to the forge. But yeah, it's forged. It's obviously a forged. I mean, look at it. It's forged, and they say it's the billets are subsequently forged. Next, the forgings are machined on a CNC horizontal machining center where the majority of the aluminum is removed to make a strong and lightweight part. After polishing and smoothing, the receivers are mil-spec Type 3 hardcoat anodized in matte black. This is like, when you're trying to write an essay on something that you don't actually care about. They're just trying to pad for runtime. They're using double spacing, really short paragraphs, large font, and yeah, just like what is a forged receiver set? Webster's dictionary defines a forged receiver as giving us a 5-minute history of AR receiver forgings to fill time. Good grief. El Jefe's Handguard is the well-known ALG V03 featuring a slim round profile with low vis m-lok slots. I don't think it's called the V03. I think it's called the V3X. You can tell that the X geometry no longer has a rail section on the 3 and 9 o'clock positions. They only do the 45 degrees, the diagonals, which is different. Very few receivers very few handguards are like that, but it's not a good thing. It actually makes it a lot more difficult to mount accessories, slings and stuff. Just everything kind of piles up. Rail panels, all that stuff becomes more difficult with the X. So honestly, I think the pre-X Geisley rails were the better ones. None of the Geisley rails that I have or ALG rails, excuse me. None of the ALG rails that I have anymore are the originals. All the ones I have now are X's. And yeah, the X is not as good. The V03 uses the ALG rock solid large diameter barrel nut for the ultimate in stiffness and resistance to rough handling. Oh, I like a stiff large diameter nut. That's one you don't even have to run through the AI voice generator. You can just use that one. Yeah, those handguards are freaking great. They're a little bit on the heavier side for, like free float m-lok tubes, and they're also more difficult to install because they have to be timed with shims. But then you end up with a really good lockup system and a large barrel nut with a lot of material and a really just incredibly rigid handguard. So it's a great handguard. I browsed their website. It doesn't look like they're going to put these back into production just for general sale. So if you really desperately need to get your hands on an ALG V3X handguard, you're going to have to buy a whole El Jefe and take it apart. A comfortable and ergonomic SOP mod stock from B5 Systems. Garbage stock, terrible stock. B5's plastic fucking sucks. The SOP mod stock is no good. People only like it because you can get a stock that looks like a clone correct LMT stock, but it's way cheaper because it's not made by LMT, it's made by B5. Geisley Super 42 braided wire buffer spring surrounds an H1 buffer so that even low-powered steel case ammunition will cycle reliably. I don't think that has, first of all, anything to do with it. Second of all, surrounds the H1 buffer. These are some sumptuous words they're peppering this description with. The reciprocating bolt carrier group is made by Geisley Automatics from mil-spec 8620, 4140, 4130, and Carpenter 158 steel. Reciprocating bolt carrier group, as opposed to the non-reciprocating type. Who fucking wrote this? Well, this does sound like a mil-spec bolt carrier group. If it's got a Carpenter 158 bolt, and then they hard chrome plated the internal surfaces. So I have an older ALG bolt carrier group. They made BCGs under the ALG brand for a while, nitride and phosphate. They were not mil-spec. I'm like 99% sure they were 9310 steel bolts. Of course, the El Jefe has the renowned ALG Defense Advanced Combat Trigger, also known as the Schmid trigger. Still a good trigger. It's just some of the mystique died off when I realized that it wasn't actually made by ALG. And people thought of ALG as like a trigger company in some ways because they make those AK triggers. Now I don't even know if they make the AK triggers. Machined from Mil B 11595E chromoly steel, the barrel on El Jefe is button rifled and chrome plated. So it's just a mil-spec style button rifled barrel. I had the video where I was talking about Aero Pro components and the barrels being cold hammer forged, and people were pointing out that the M4 TDP doesn't specify a cold hammer forged barrel. It specifies a button rifled barrel. But I should also point out that the M4 TDP doesn't specify a 16-inch barrel and it doesn't specify a mid-length gas system. So what the fuck are you even talking about? Moving right along. Mated to this barrel is a Geisley 17.4 pH stainless steel gas block with a Geisley exclusive extended mid-length gas tube for softer shooting and more manageable recoil. So that might be the most interesting part of the gun. They're using the Geisley super gas block. Seems like a good gas block, and they're also using the Geisley extended gas system. So it's not mid-length, it's longer than mid-length. An A2 flash hider protects the muzzle crown. I wonder if that's all it does, or if it also hides some flash. Who knows? Versions of El Jefe will be available with suppressor-ready muzzle devices this fall 2023. But then again, it's not a pin and weld. It's a 16-inch, so yeah, not impressive. To complete the rifle system, the El Jefe comes with an M4 carbine mil-spec web sling and a pair of steel QD swivels. So the sling is worth less than half as much as just one QD swivel. They're probably not the ALG swivels either. ALG made some like really shit hot sling swivels for a long time. Maybe they still do. They cost like $45 a piece because they're machined out of billet steel or something crazy like that. I always thought they looked cool, but definitely not worth the like triple price markup versus just a, a cheap BCM $10 swivel. The cherry on top is the US engineered Warner & Swayze 3MOA red dot with integral backup iron sights. So there is no need for a separate backup iron sight set. Well, those iron sights are completely dog worthless, as you'd know if you watch the Brass Facts review. Also, US engineered, I'm sure that's true. Probably Swamp Fox engineered, if you want to be technical about it. A sharp and clear red dot affirms the quality of the sight as soon as the shooter takes aim at his target. A strong scope mount with oversized crossbolts maintains zero during the inevitable bumps and drops of a duty rifle. El Jefe is the boss of quality, reasonably priced AR-15s. It's the perfect addition to the gun rack of any sports shooter, law enforcement officer, or home protector. Oof. These specs are a little bizarre. Like they say that the BCG is an ALG bolt carrier group mil-spec, but ALG bolt carrier groups aren't mil-spec, so either they messed up in the description or they messed up in the stats. Barrel 16-inch cold hammer forged. Again, either the description's wrong or the stats are wrong. Let's just complain about other parts of this gun here. $1,200. The sling is not worth anything. The sling swivels are worth more than the sling. The optic is worth a little bit, but honestly not a whole bunch. It's really just essentially a Wish.com tier optic. Looking at the actual rifle itself, it does look to me like they couldn't get the anodizing on the upper and lower to match, which is kind of weird because it's supposedly coming from the same shop. Also, the Geisley style grip looks like it's got a nasty overhang where it overhangs the back of the receiver, which looks really cheap. Plus the Geisley grip and the B5 stock look nothing alike, and you know how much I hate the mixing and matching of furniture brands. That's no good. Yeah, I don't really see the value in this. I don't really see where your $1,200 is going. But if it does have a Geisley barrel, it's probably a pretty good barrel. Assuming it actually is a Geisley mil-spec bolt carrier group and not something cheaper. The fact that it's got an awesome handguard that you literally can't get anywhere else unless you know a guy. I guess the Geisley Super 42 system is also a nice little inclusion. Well, there you have it. That's what I think about the ALG Defense X Geisley collaboration rifle, the El Jefe. Let me know what you guys think. It's nice to know that Amy's still alive. Sometimes I worry that something has happened to her, and that's why her company seems to be circling the drain. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Probably one of the worst videos that I've ever made. I'll see you guys next time that some company announces a product that's so obviously not worth my time that I don't even bother to buy it or review it.